The NBA playoffs are heating up, and some superstars are raising eyebrows with their encore antics. Today, we're focusing on a player who's a walking double-double machine, a skilled scorer and a defensive anchor, but also someone who's been generating a lot of buzz, and not necessarily the good kind. We're talking about Joel Embiid. One might even say that he is blatantly cheating. Wait, or is he? Actually, not really. It's more like he's breaching the unspoken rules that NBA players around the league have been operating under for so long, as anyone could remember, that even if he is scoring 34.7 points a night, he is still often the bullseye of criticisms, all because of his outrageous antics, gimmicks, and excessive foul calls. Now, there's no denying Embiid's talent. I mean, come on. We all have to give credit when it's due. And dude's a walking highlight reel. He can bully his way to the basket, shoot the three with surprising consistency, and dominate the boards. He's an MVP candidate for a reason. But lately, there's been a growing conversation about his on-court behavior, which raises the question, is Embiid just playing hard, or is there a line he's starting to cross? Be sure to stick around later in the video for some answers. The New York Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers kicked off their playoff series this year. While the Philadelphia 76ers hope to start their playoff series against the New York Knicks with a bang, the opening two games painted a different picture. Despite a valiant effort from Joel Embiid, the Knicks emerged victorious in both games, showcasing a strong defense that exposed some vulnerabilities in the Sixers' offense. Embiid, the 76ers' undisputed offensive weapon, shouldered the scoring load in Game 1. He exploded with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, showcasing his dominance in the paint. His powerful post moves and efficient close-range shooting were on full display. However, New York Knicks' Bojan Bogdanovic came off the bench for 13 points, and Mitchell Robinson, the Knicks' former starter at center, who has been a reserve since returning from ankle injury, had 8 points and 12 rebounds while playing 30 minutes and leading the effort against Embiid. The Knicks outscored the 76ers by 37 points when McBride was in the game, 27 points when Bogdanovic was in, and 20 points with Robinson, leading to the Knicks' victory 111-104 against the 76ers. Embiid attempted to adjust his approach in Game 2. He focused on high percentage shots, draining his first three-pointer of the series. His rebounding remained a constant threat, with 10 boards, including several on the offensive end, 6 assists, and a massive 34-point total. However, the Knicks' defense continued to tighten its grip. They successfully limited Embiid's overall impact, showcasing their ability to adapt and counter his adjustments. Despite Embiid's respectable average of 33 points and 9 rebounds across the first 2 games, the Knicks' defensive strategy seemed to be working. Their relentless pressure exposed the Sixers' offensive limitations, forcing Embiid to carry an unsustainable offensive burden. While Embiid, with 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, and Maxey, with 35 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds, played well, nobody else in the 76ers scored more than 10 points. And frankly, that proved to be the difference in the loss. The final score of Game 2 was left at 104-101 in favor of the Knicks. Soon after that loss, in a post-game interview, it really shows how he feels about the loss.
Forget about the timeout. There's a bunch of fouls. Like I said, that's unacceptable.
Embiid wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's not shy about complaining to the refs, arguing calls, and let's be honest, sometimes flopping to try and draw fouls. There are countless compilations online of Embiid throwing his arms up in frustration after what he perceives to be a missed call. While some fans find this passionate, it can be frustrating to watch. It disrupts the flow of the game and undermines the authority of the referees. Now, some will argue that every player complains to the refs, but Embiid does it with a theatricality that pushes the boundaries. I mean, he even takes it outside the court, into the post-game interviews, with people giving out comments like, "biggest crybaby on earth," "he stinks," and many more alike. But with all that being said, let's now dive deeper in the Game 3 between Embiid's Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks. This matchup has been a battle, especially for Embiid. The Knicks' young center, Mitchell Robinson, has been a thorn in his side. Robinson's size and athleticism have limited Embiid's scoring opportunities. We're talking about games where Embiid, who typically averages over 34.7 per game, has been held to a lower field goal percentage than usual. It's quite the evidence to Robinson's defense, but it's also clear that Embiid's been frustrated. But frustration sometimes boils over, and that's exactly what happened in Game 3. The intensity of the game escalated, and Embiid was right in the middle of it. There were a couple of plays that raised serious questions about his on-court conduct. The opening act of Game 3 of the Philadelphia 76ers playoff series against the New York Knicks was an unusual one. Both teams saw key players take hits to the groin. Embiid picked up 3 big fouls in the first half of play. Embiid was called for an offensive foul in the first quarter, after it appeared that he had struck the Knicks center Isaiah Hartenstein in the groin.
From Embiid, they're just looking at the play, and
Embiid awkwardly flung his leg high on a shooting attempt in the second quarter, hitting Mitchell Robinson, the other center for New York, in the groin as well.
An errant Embiid flare with his leg caught Robinson right there.
Yet, those plays were nothing compared to the other foul Embiid made on Robinson. Anunoby threw the ball to Robinson, but Robinson was also hauled to the ground by Embiid, who grabbed his leg from below.
Expected it to get hot tonight. Physicality already off the charts, and now the officials for the third time in this quarter.
Before Mitchell Robinson left Game 3 and departed Wells Fargo Center wearing a walking boot, Knicks supporters continued their online indignation at Embiid's allegedly flagrant one-point swipe at the center from New York. Robinson's left ankle injury, which prevented him from playing in the second half, may have happened at any point, but the Knicks players and their supporters felt that Embiid's behavior, which involved flailing at Robinson's flying legs while Embiid was on his back in the floor, was careless and hazardous. Even so, Embiid argued it was just a basketball play, but the replay showed a clear intentional pull to Robinson's ankle. This wasn't just aggressive defense, it was a dangerous move with the potential to cause a serious injury. Robinson ended up leaving the game with a left ankle injury and didn't return. This unexpected turn of events left the Knicks shorthanded, particularly in the paint. Stepping into Robinson's absence was the third-year player, Jericho Sims, but the defensive responsibility of containing Joel Embiid fell squarely on his shoulders. This proved to be a mismatch of epic proportions. Embiid, sensing an opportunity, absolutely dominated the second quarter. He bullied his way through the paint with impunity, drawing fouls and converting at the free throw line at an alarming rate. The Knicks simply had no answer for his size and power. By the end of the third quarter, Embiid had already surpassed the 40-point mark, a clear indication of his offensive dominance. The free throw disparity was staggering. Embiid, who had mastered the art of drawing fouls throughout the game, had attempted more free throws, 21, than the entire Knicks team combined, 19, at that point. The final buzzer confirmed a decisive 125-114 victory for the Sixers, with Embiid finishing the game with a playoff career high, 50 points. He also added 8 rebounds and 4 assists, solidifying his performance as a masterpiece of offensive efficiency. Embiid's dominance in the paint, particularly after Robinson's injury, stood out as the turning point of the game. His ability to draw fouls and convert at the free throw line proved to be a major factor in the Sixers' victory. But in Game 4 of the series, against the New York Knicks though, it is a completely different story. As although Embiid provided 27 points, he had an abysmal shooting efficiency of 7 of 19 from the field and 1 of 6 from 3. But of course, it wouldn't be an Embiid game, as he had 12 out of 14 free throws made attempted. That, along with 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 steals across 44 minutes, but on a loss with a score of 97-92 to New York in Game 4, giving New York a 3-1 advantage for the series. In this game, it is also important to note here how the Knicks had executed a plan to defend against Embiid, even without Mitchell Robinson, who re-injured his ankle in Game 3. The job of guarding Embiid mainly belonged to the 6'8" Anunoby, though he had plenty of help. Embiid is a load, Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau said afterward. You're not guarding him individually, you gotta guard him with your team. Now, winning aside, let's not forget the big elephant in the room being this right here in front of your screens. Others might argue this wasn't an isolated incident, as there's a history of Embiid being involved in questionable plays. Take a deep dive into his past games, and you'll find some clips that raise eyebrows. There's that incident from the 2021 season, where he went for an attempt to flop a push, but instead went directly and dove straight to Atlanta Hawks' John Collins' right leg. It was a reckless move that luckily didn't cause any serious injuries, but it showed a willingness to play outside the boundaries of basketball. Fans raised multiple threads online highlighting the dangerous decisions that Embiid often makes in his games. Then, in the 2022 NBA playoffs, when the 76ers faced the Raptors in Game 1, we saw an incident where Joel Embiid seemingly slapped Scottie Barnes right at his face as Embiid attempted to block the shot. The officials ruled a flagrant foul call against Embiid on this one. These are just a couple of examples, and they paint a picture of a player who sometimes lets his emotions get the better of him. So, where do we stand with Joel Embiid? Is he a dirty player who intentionally targets opponents? Is he a whiny complainer who can't accept calls against him? Or is he simply a passionate competitor who plays with a high motor and sometimes loses his cool? The truth is probably somewhere in between. There's no denying Embiid's immense talent. He's a dominant force on the court, a game changer for the 76ers, but his on-court behavior can be a turnoff for some fans. Maybe it's a part of his competitive fire, a way to get himself psyched up. Maybe it's a strategy to get under the opponent's skin and draw fouls. Whatever the reason, it's a double-edged sword. It can fuel his dominance, but it can also lead to unnecessary penalties and even suspensions, or worse, injury to other players apart from himself. But what do you guys think? Is Embiid a dirty player, or is he misunderstood? And do you really think that with Embiid being the best player, can lead the 76ers to a deep playoff run ever? If you do, then please comment your thoughts down below, as well as subscribe and click the notification bell for more videos just like this one.